Wondering what life is really like on Canada's wild and crazy West Coast? This podcast is all about the people, the places, and Vancouver Island time. Together, we'll explore this island paradise, a combination of ocean, city, and country living. We'll meet the fabulous locals such as the Fudge Fairy and the Chicken Lady, who have chosen Victoria and Vancouver Island as their home. And we'll learn what makes this place unique and special to those who live here. And now, your host of Vancouver Island Time, Jane Johnston.
Hi everybody, it's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and host of Vancouver Island Time. And today I'm here with Alex Walker. Alex was my coach in the master's program last year for the Gorge Narrows Rowing Club. And he is now coach of the junior program. And he lives right across the water from the Gorge Narrows Club, which is in the Railyards. So today we're going to highlight the Railyards, which is in Vic West, which is just southwest of downtown Victoria. So you just moved there. What made you move to Vic West?
Location. When I was growing up on the Gorge, I spent a long time looking over at the multicolored houses and thinking when I was an adult, I would live over there, and it would be kind of a dream. I pictured myself with a girlfriend and a dog. I have no dog yet. We figured it was an appropriate location for the two of us, and the Railyards, the first section of the horizon, had just been completed, so we did some searching around, and I think it really sort of fell into our lap. We found a nice landlord, and we've been really, really happy.
What's the vacancy rate there? Is it hard to find a place?
At the time, there were 3 or 4 units, and the building itself is relatively populated. People are coming and going a lot. I honestly don't know whether or not there are a lot of empty units at the moment, but it was relatively easy to find a spot. I'm
curious what people are paying for rent there, if you know what they were advertising for.
Yeah, it was $1,600 for a 1-bedroom was kind of the going rate. That's what we looked at. The 2 bedrooms were obviously more. We weren't focused so much on the number at the time, but $1,600 was sort of the going rate for all 1-bedrooms. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so we'll take some pictures and show you guys where we're looking at. It's basically right over the water. What's cool about it is it's right on the Galloping Goose Trail, right? Yeah. What else do you like about this area?
Like growing up in Fairfield and Fernwood myself, I didn't spend a ton of time on this side of the bridge as a kidder, and we've been growing into the neighbourhood a lot. There's a dog park right across. Well, first of all, you can walk to get your groceries, which is phenomenal. You're right on the Goose, so commuting downtown or anywhere in the city, you can be on 20-30 minutes on your bike, which is these days almost easier than driving.
How long does it take you to get downtown though?
Walking is under 10 minutes. Yeah, and there's also the cafes. You've got Full Epi right there. Spiral Cafe is super funky, live music, a couple of nights a week. Starbucks, and there's in that plaza, there's everything you need literally within walking distance. It's wonderful. So we've actually been able to change our insurance on the car. Like, I don't drive to work. Emma doesn't drive it to work, so we save money on insurance and we save money on gas, and so it's been a really enjoyable lifestyle change for us.
And what's the demographics of the people living there like? So how old, and are they out and active, or are they sedentary? What's it like?
Yeah, the people that I've run into in the halls and in the parking garage are all like young, active people. There's a rooftop patio, which is really cool. You can actually see the gorge from the rooftop patio. And there was somebody who had a Canada Day party up there, and he was 60-something and living it up with the young guys. And I think that the community is really cool, and it does span all age groups, but everybody, I think what brings people together is that everyone's sort of active and into the downtown vibe.
They also have, don't they, in front of your parking, they allow for kayak storage, and there's bicycle storage as well. So are you finding many people have kayaks in that area?
Our building, no, but they're across the way there in the other sort of the townhouses. Almost everyone has a boat, and there's a boat launch. I'm looking at it right across here, a public boat launch, which is really funky right at the end of the road. almost everybody in the building seems to have a bike though. And the bike room is really cool actually. It's unlimited bike storage. Basically first come first serve, and the people are sort of bustling in and out of there at all times of the day. So it's kind of like like a common area almost. Yeah.
Are you, so tell me about eating there. So you mentioned a few places. Where do you go to eat out in Vic West, Railyards area?
Mm-hmm. There's a really good sushi place called Victoria Sushi, I think. And it's in the Save on Foods Plaza. And then also in there is La Taquista, which is like a really phenomenal burrito and taco place. Really, really popular. They have a wonderful vegan burrito, if that's your thing. And then, of course, Big Wheel. Can't go wrong with Big Wheel. I'm really showing my cards here. If you're, Spinnaker's is a great date night because it's just over the hump there from our place. And then
Spinnaker's has its own brewery. They also make their own chocolate.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal place, wonderful place. If you've never been, it is one of Victoria's classics, I think.
Okay, and then entertainment.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time just walking around in the evenings. We're like young and busy now with work, and Emma's at school in the summer, and she's working full time. So in the evenings, we entertain ourselves a lot by just making sure that we have good quality food to eat, and then exploring the neighborhood, walking through. There's a dog park and like a fun playground on the other side of Save-On. So there's a good place to throw the frisbee around. There's a walkway that goes all the way from sort of the Goose around to the West Bay Marina, and that's a beautiful place to walk as well. And then there's the Bamfield, the Bamfield Park over on this side, which is really nice. So sort of in every direction, as soon as you open the door, there's some sort of enjoyable way to spend an evening walking, or you can go downtown. Another one of our favorites is to just go peruse Mech, plan our next camping trip or something like that. So it's obviously you're so close to downtown that you could entertain yourself in 100 different ways down there, but our personal favorite is just kind of walking and seeing the neighborhood. So
Do you ever go to the pizza place at the bottom of Johnson and Wharf?
Famoso, yeah. Actually, Emma just got a Groupon there, so that's one of our meal plans for this week is Famoso.
They have awesome pizza and awesome salads, and they actually don't give you too big a pizza if you don't want it. You can get a pizzetta, which is nice, and also they have thin crust, which is like so hard to find in Victoria. Don't you agree?
I do agree, Jane. I do. Yes.
This is serious stuff, folks. Okay, so you're a big cyclist. So where do you cycle in Victoria?
Road cycling, the waterfront is obviously a beautiful option. And the waterfront takes you sort of all the way. There's sort of two directions you can go, right? One is the peninsula out to Sydney and then Land's End Road and around back, or you can go towards Machosen and then the Highlands. So the Goose is a great feeder system to either one. You either end up sort of over towards the waterfront, or you end up out towards Machosen and Colwood, which and the Goose, if you wanted to, you could ride the Goose all the way to Leechtown, which is 124 kilometers. And then the interesting cool thing about that is that there are no stoplights or traffic really past Colwood. So my personal favorite place is Ross Durant's Lake Road. So you go, sort of through Langford and then deke off and go over Munns and sort of explore the Highlands. It's a really, really quick way to get into the beautiful trees and the wild. As long as you're careful with drivers, it's an awesome place to ride your bike.
So what about crime in your area?
Yeah, I grew up in Jasper, Alberta, and to lock the door was like I never locked the door. And I feel very similar to that where we live now. Like the people, especially with bike rooms, like people are concerned that their bikes are going to get stolen, and our building is safe. And I don't really feel like I need to lock the door. Emma makes me, but which is fine. There's never even any really disturbances at night. It's a quiet place. I feel really, I feel really at home and safe there. So.
Yeah, we actually on Canada Day, we parked near where you live and walked down. Yeah. So it was just a 10-minute walk, super easy, and you don't have to worry about paying for parking either. We parked in the bottom of Save-On Foods. So that's a little tip for you guys for next year, and you can watch the fireworks from the Delta Ocean Point Hotel. Don't tell anybody, though. Okay, what about Esquimalt? Esquimalt is right beside you, and it's been given a bad rap And in fact, I was showing houses there on the weekend in condos. There are $1 million condos in Esquimalt. But for those that grew up in this area, they kind of don't really find Esquimalt as appealing as I do, because I didn't grow up here. What about you, who didn't grow up here as well?
Yeah, well, I mean, I did go to high school here, and that's like that reputation was present. But I think Esquimalt is a lovely place. I think that it's a little bit limited, or what's the word I'm looking for? Almost isolated, because it is across the bridge, and people who live in Greater Victoria might not end up coming this way. But they're beautiful parks, great restaurants, lots of really sort of funky live music all around, and lots of recreational opportunities as well. So I think if I were to look for somewhere to settle down in Victoria, permanently, like purchase a house, I think Esquimalt would be right up there. Because it doesn't really, especially with the goose right here, it's not that limiting to get out of. Sometimes the traffic on the bridges is a lot, but I think that's just sort of the trend in Victoria, is that driving is getting tough.
It depends where you, like, what I like about Esquimalt, because our kids went to school there, is you can go downtown, you can go Tillicum, or you can go Admiral. So you have 3 ways of getting out. Whereas if you live in a place like James Bay, it's really just one way out, right?
Yeah, I've always found that the community vibe in Esquimalt is really strong too, because it started out as a military base, and I don't know whether or not that permeated the rest of the community, but I've lived down on Colville Street. It was the first place I ever lived outside of my parents' home, and I found a healthy community there, and we found a healthy community here in Vic West as well. So I've enjoyed every moment that I spent in Esquimalt and Vic West.
Yeah, I think if I were to retire, I think I'd retire over there, because you get all the advantages of being downtown. You don't have the high rises. They also have the new development happening with the Roundhouse, or Bayview Place it's called. And so that's really going to, I think, turn that area over too and increase the prices. So if I were to buy, that's my choice of buying. That's your real estate tip for the day. Okay, anything else you want to tell us about just to close out on Vic West?
I think if you do live in Vic West and you see the rowers going by, you should come say hi, because we're always looking for new members. No, I think it's, you spend some time at Full Effie, the cafe there, or, the Trek Bike Store, or sort of some of these hubs of the community, and you just really get a sense of how enjoyable it can be to live and function in this neighborhood. And we've only been here 6 months now, and it really does feel like home. So yeah, we're really happy with it.
Yeah, it really has everything. It has, sorry, I forgot to mention, Good Life Fitness. It has the Save on Foods. It has law offices, Booster Juice, all within walking distance to you. And then, all the amenities, and without the hassle of downtown.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Beautiful place to start out for us. Yeah.
Okay, so if you're interested in the downtown core, and specifically Vic West or Esquimalt, give me a call. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. If you're interested in being a guest on our show, we'd love to hear about you and where you live on Vancouver Island Time. So you can reach us at vancouverislandtime.com. We're also on Facebook, Vancouver Island Time. And we are on Stitcher, iTunes, and TuneIn. So tune in next week and watch Alex talking about this neighborhood. Take care. Bye.
Vancouver Island Time is brought to you by the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, Victoria, where we bring local expertise and global presence to your property.
Hi, everybody. It's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and host of Vancouver Island Time. I'm here with Alex Walker, who is my coach for the master's program. He's since moved up in the world, and he's with the juniors, who are all doing very well at the national and international level. So, but rowing is for everybody. So we want to talk to you today about why you might be interested in this as a sport for your life. So tell us, actually, why don't you tell us your story? It's kind of inspirational. How did you get into rowing?
I actually started rowing right here on this dock. We moved here my mother and I moved here from Jasper, Alberta when I was 15. Classic mother. She told me I had to go to school and I had to sign up for either a sport or join the jazz band. So it was clubs day at the school, and I walked around and I joined rowing, as I'd never really heard of it. And I loved it. It sort of combines the physical aspect of sports that I did enjoy previously and sort of a new element of working with a medium of resistance like water, kind of much different than other sports that I had just come across in my life. So I was 16 at that time, and I moved on to I rowed at the Gorge for 3 years over the course of my junior career, and then I moved on to the University of Victoria for 4 years. During that time I rowed for the under-23 national team and the senior Olympic team as well, and competed at a number of world championships, and did generally okay.
He did very well. And what he's not telling you is, so what awards did you win? Tell us.
I was the 4-time national champion in the lightweight men's double, which was a record in Canada. I also hold the fastest time in that event. I won the national championship in the men's heavyweight 8 as well one year on home soil here at Elk Lake, which was really a highlight for me. I was a captain, not the captain, but a captain of the University of Victoria rowing team for 4 years.
Not so bad. Okay, so we have this very accomplished rower coaching. So you injured your back and you blew out your discs, and you decided rowing could not be the sport for you. So you decided to take up coaching, and I was one of the first cohort of people you coached. It was kind of fun because Alex was used to highly competitive people, and here we are, a group. We have maybe 70 people who are part of our crew. We range in age from 20 to 80 now, and all of varying abilities and skill sets, and we make it work. So what inspired you to work with the Masters? What did you learn from working with the Masters?
What inspired me to do it was I felt like it was time to come back into the sports, and after my injury I felt like I had put a lot of my young adulthood into something that had ended, and I thought I had all these skills and a passion that was sort of unfulfilled. So when Connor, who's the Masters coach here, approached me for a job, I was really interested in not only kind of fighting my own demons of looking at rowing and not wishing that I was in that situation, and actually helping the person that I'm working with progress. But I was just excited to be back on the Gorge and involved in the sport again too. So and what I learned from the Masters, I don't think you have enough time for that, but I think the one major thing that I walked away with was that as a coach, you need to coach not what you want to coach or what you're working on as a coach personally, whether it's describing a concept in a lot of different ways, or coaches get on these themes, right? So you can't be doing what you think you need to be working on. It's what the athlete needs at their stage in their development. And each master was really quite different because not in it's a unique situation where you have people who are 1-2 weeks into rowing or 25 years into rowing.
And we all have the bad habits.
Yeah. But that's okay. I mean, that's the beauty of a sport, is that it's all about the consistent search for improvement. So, yeah.
I find what's interesting about it is you're today we did a really long, hard row. So sometimes we do sprints, sometimes we do long, hard rows. and just the consistency over time. And it's the same thing with speed skating. When I coach little kids, I'm like, you don't want to go fast, you want to do it well. Then you can start applying the pressure and doing it fast. But there's also the interplay of people in the boat, don't you find?
Yeah, Yeah, definitely. Yeah, masters are much more. Everybody had preconceived notions about how to interact and how what they had learned from a certain coach was, right or wrong. Coming into sport later in life is a big challenge, and something else that I really took away from the master's program was that, in a lot of regards, when adults get to this point, like they've joined a program and they've undertaken learning a new skill, that's all a big win already, right? When they get to the dock and when they sit in the boat, they've overcome significant barriers. Most cases, they've overcome significant barriers before they even sit in the boat. So you as a coach have to remember that, you're dealing with people who are nervous about learning a new skill, and that, whether or not this person is really confident and this person is, brand new, you have to sort of meld the feeling of the boat. And it's sort of like, you're building community and you're building culture within a coaching session. So there's specific technical goals, but there's also goals of everybody you as a coach are responsible for everybody walking away feeling like they've accomplished something and that they had fun.
Right. So. I find so we often go to competitions, and so it's interesting to see, some people are just going for the social aspect, some people are going to win, and whatever. I find our group really, really accepting of everybody and very community oriented. We do a lot together, including social nights, and like we'll come and clean the boats and stuff like that, just hang out. We have breakfast together on Saturday mornings, which is a lot of fun. So do you miss us?
Yeah, I do. I miss you guys a lot. Every time I come back and you guys are still kind of hanging around from the 7:00 session, I get hugs, and it's nice to feel missed as well in that group. So yeah, it was a meaningful period of my involvement in rowing, working with the Masters, for sure.
Yeah, it was interesting watching you last year at your first Masters competition when we were in regionals and or Northwest regionals, and how I think we inspired you to get back on a boat, right?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
And he said, I remember at the end, so they only row 1,000 meters, whereas the juniors row 2,000. And he's like, oh my God, I forgot how hard that was.
Yeah, it's true. I got back on an erg the other day with the kids too, and whoo, that's hard.
So we have a new coach, Allie. She got in our 8th on Saturday, and she was saying the same thing. She's like, can we let her run for a bit? I just need to take a break. Anyway, okay. So then you moved up the chain, and so now you're the head coach for all the juniors, and there's 3 levels, A, B, and C. And our A's are the older group, and they're quite focused. So they're here in the mornings erging, and then working out in the afternoons rowing, and then we also have Learn to Rows going on right now. So what do you find about this age group? What's different? Who's the ideal rower?
I think everybody brings to the dock their specific talents, and there are certainly things you are good to have in an athlete, but an ideal athlete doesn't exist because of the human nature of sport. But I think the kids they're more challenging to coach because they're more demanding of you, and the concepts that we work with are a little bit more finite as they get more accomplished with the sport. But it includes a similar array of coaching skills, which is, some of these people are brand new to it, and you're trying to develop them and get them moving with the rest of the group. And some of them are pushing the top level in Canada. Like, we have Marissa Murray, who's one of the top juniors in the country. So, I find it challenging to continue to push Marissa, but also level back a bit and work with somebody who's 6 months in.
Are there certain people who just kind of jackrabbit forward, and what is it that causes them to improve so quickly?
Kids that genuinely want to be here and love the idea of pushing themselves and getting better. Some people are voracious about that. It's just in them. Like you put them in a boat, and you say go, and even if it's their first day, they'll start rowing 30 strokes a minute as hard as they possibly can. You're like, oh, okay, well, we're going to work on slowing it down and breaking it down and getting the appropriate sequencing, but you can see right away they're the kind of kid that you have to sort of feed them the right amount at the right time to get them, but they're going to be good, right? Because they want to push themselves and they want to drive. And then there are other kids who are like a little bit, or more people that are more like almost scientists about it. They want to know this every step and every piece of the puzzle, and there are a lot of different indicators that kids will be good as long as you develop them in the appropriate way.
I also find too, like, I was doing an open house the other day, and this couple came in with a 14-year-old, and I'm recruiting a 14-year-old to join the team. But what I said to her is, "Are you rhythmic? Do you like to dance?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, well, if you can dance, then you could probably row, because it's all about following the swing, coming back, opening up at the right time, and it's rhythmic. Don't you find it?"
Yeah, totally. It's a sport that works really, really well for a certain type of person, and I'm honestly still figuring out what the parameters of that are, but I'm getting to the point where I can kind of identify it and then I'm trying to put my finger on it as we work with these kids too. But I think physical literacy is one of those things that is developed from a young age. Like my degree is in recreation and health education, and there's a large component of early education, and the kids you can see the kids that have a lot of physical literacy in their youth. Like they played outside, they went camping, they threw rocks at the beach. They end up coming in here and being more confident with their physical skills, which is always a good thing. But this sport also attracts people who they have a little bit more trouble with ball sports, or they're not as traditionally coordinated, and you put them in a boat and the rhythm of the crew kind of sorts it out for them. And there's a lot of people who didn't necessarily succeed in other team oriented sports, but have done really, really well in rowing, because it does require coordination, just not necessarily hand-eye coordination.
It's linear too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you get to there's so many repetitions within a practice. You get to work on many, many different things, and yeah, I think it for me personally, it helped me study. It helped me become a better critical thinker. Yeah, a better. It helped me become a better critical thinker. Just because you always have something going on in your mind while you're rowing.
Well, I was going to say, I find it very zen. Like, I go in sometimes with a problem, and then it's solved by the time I come out. Okay, so how does someone join? What's the best way to join? There's opportunities at their schools, and we've been focusing on developing those opportunities, but there's also opportunities here at the club, right?
Yeah, correct. We have Learn to Row programs running all summer, every week, for the youth, and then we have a number of intakes for adults as well. The adults are a 5-week program twice a week, and the youth are a 1-week program, from 9 to 12, Monday to Friday. So sort of like a morning summer camp. Those are the two major ways to get involved over the summer. In the fall program, we utilize the high school program to basically introduce a lot of people to the sport. So from September to November, we have a Greater Victoria Youth Rowing Society season, and each high school has their representative team, and they row out of the Gorge or Elk Lake. So that's the easiest and cheapest way to get into the sport as a kid. And yeah, that's how I started, and that's how many, many people that I know who succeeded in the sport started. And it's a ton of fun.
I was also thinking that if they learn to row in summer when there's not a lot of pressure, they get at least a basic skill set. Then when they go to the high school, they can just take off, like it'll just work.
Yeah, exactly. And to that point, we have Learn to Row as an intermediate camps all summer, and then we also have 2 weeks of high school tune-up, which are kind of like Well, exactly what it sounds like. It's a tune-up for high school season.
What? So where do they go to get that information?
We have a brand new website, gorgerowing.ca. And all of our programs are live on there. And if that is not doing it for you, you can find our contact information on there as well, and our phone number, and we're more than happy to answer any questions.
And we also have a Facebook page, so Gorge Narrows Rowing Club if you're interested, and just click on connect and we'll connect you to the managers here. If you want more information about the Gorge Narrows Rowing Club in general, you can also just come down and watch us. We're here every morning, 5:15, 7 a.m. and 5:45 p.m. And then during the days in the summer, we're here from 9 to 12 and 4:30 to 6, I think, or 4 to 6, yeah. So those are, the afternoon are the club rowers, and the learn to rows are in the morning. So anyway, don't be intimidated. It looks like it's tough, but it's not. And we have all varying abilities, and we'd be glad to have you out, right?
Absolutely. You said it best.
Okay, so join. All right. So if you want more information, give me a call. Jane Johnston. I'm with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and host of Vancouver Island Time. Or you can contact Alex Walker, gorgerowing.ca, and the number is?
You can call me at 250-208-4303, and I can answer any questions about junior programming.
Okay, perfect. We'll be in touch. Bye.
Welcome to the neighborhood. We hope you have had some insight into West Coast living. If you know of someone or someplace that should be highlighted in our podcast, we love to hear from you. Please go to VancouverIslandTime.com and click on our Connect button. See you next week on Vancouver Island Time with Jane Johnston.